Kia ora and welcome to the 2025 Trans Tasman Test Series held at Ngā Punawai Sports Hub here in Ōtautahi, Christchurch. We've just seen the conclusion of the first game of Day 2, the 3-day event, which was between the New Zealand and Australian Open mixed teams, where the Australian Open mixed, right from the first whistle, were convincing winners for that game. I think it was 9-6, the end result. We now preview the next game. You can see there, joining me in commentary, Rhys Allen. I wouldn't say born and bred, but probably bred and raised down in this area, Rhys. How are you feeling? It almost, the contrast between feelings after that game versus how we were feeling after that game yesterday couldn't be more diametrically opposed, could it?
Yeah, if I'm to be honest, they looked like two different teams, especially on the New Zealand side. Mixed up their personnel, which we'll try and find some information about the reasons why, but they looked just a little bit off the pace. But we always knew Australia were going to come back with extra foot speed. They knew that the series was on the line, down by one, looking to promote this series into Sunday, and they were right before the first whistle. There was the shoulders were back. They were getting into full stride. They knew how focused they needed to be. So they were different as well. They were different to how they played yesterday. A little bit, maybe too laxed yesterday, but today they were on, and they deserved their victory.
I was going to say, with about 10 minutes left in that second half, it's almost like they swapped singlets today. In terms of the way that both teams played, New Zealand came out yesterday and just so dominant. But unfortunately for the New Zealand team, it was Australia's day. But like you say, after the national anthem, they came over for their little extra 3-minute warm-up, and the noise and the energy. And we talk about that keyword connection, and we've seen it on their defence. For Australia, it was just at a next level. However, I'm sure the Kiwis will go away, review that one. What a test series. It's great. I guess the important thing is it's still alive. And for the two teams coming up here, for the New Zealand team, the New Zealand Open women's team, they've got a real battle on their hands to keep their series alive. But in saying that, and I don't mean to diminish it in terms of it sounds condescending or anything, I was actually super impressed with our New Zealand Open women's team and the way that they performed. You look at the results over the past decade, that result was really close on the scoreboard, but in that second half, it was a really tight match. I think they even drawed on the scoreboard in the second half. So really impressed with the 9 debutantes that they had in the team, the way they played so fearlessly. It was a great performance by them. But then when you look at the Australian Open women's team, they are the best sports team that I've ever seen play in terms of their dominance, in terms of their own standards that they have year in, year out. They are just unreal. So this game is going to be interesting to see after the review what the New Zealand team can come out and do. And if they can get across this Australian team, it's a big task. But it would probably be one of the greatest victories in the New Zealand touch singlet.
Yeah, 100%. I was lucky enough to catch up with Coach McIntyre this morning and have a brief conversation about a potential game plan for today, and he just said they just need to be more physical. They need to get off the line defensively and not be so passive, and really go to work for 40 minutes, and it literally just needs to be like that when the series is on the line. They've got to do everything they can to throw this series into Sunday. Australia, on the other hand, the yards, the speed on the ball, they were smart in isolating the fourth toucher, who became the fifth toucher, 80% completion. And Walsh, the winger, she was outstanding yesterday. My player of the day yesterday out of all 3 grades.
Yeah, and it's hard to, how do you pick a player of the day out of that team? Like, the thing about that team is that it's not that 1 or 2 key individuals that get them to victory. It's the whole team performance. Defensively outstanding. But through the transition, through that orange zone, every grade and every team would look at them just to see how it's done. Sometimes you feel like there's no defence, and that's not to disrespect the Kiwi defence, but the way with which they do it, the way that they get defenders coming to them as opposed to running to the defenders, the fundamental skills in terms of the depth that they come onto the ball with, the pass off the deck. Flawless is one of the words you think about when you see that Australian team exiting off their scoreline. So massive task for our New Zealand girls, one that I absolutely know they'll be up for. I really like the performances of both captains, Breyer, Hadfield and Mania Wardby. I thought they led the team well. They were definitely taking the fight to them. So we talked about the new tactics, well, not new tactics, but the adaptation to the game plan from Coach McIntyre. I'd love to see that physicality from our girls and see what impact that has on the overall game.
Yeah, it's an easy platform really. When you really got to, as in the mixed game, there were some certain players that were strike players yesterday in the mixed grade. Has to be the same for New Zealand here. Kimera's got to get on the ball. Would be one of the captains. Sarah Baldwin's got to get her feet going, lift from dummy half and get into the end goal as she did yesterday, and just defensively be a lot more committed in terms of looking after each other and staying connected.
There we see the coach and management team of the New Zealand Open Women's team, the two captains, the co-captains leading them out, Mania and Briar. And there follows, we see a young player there, Reece. You got a bit of info?
Yeah, Koiataro Edwards. E mihi ana koe kia koe e hine me tō pakeketanga o te 16 tō whakapapa ki a Mania Poto me Te Arawa. Out of Te Arawa waka, Ngāti Mania Poto making her debut at the young age of 16. Only been done before, as we know, by one other player, Skylar. And if you're listening, you now have a little club. But 16 years of age to be in a Trans Tasman in the open grade against Australia, what a massive moment, not only for her, but also her whānau.
Just about to have the national anthems for both teams, starting off with Australia, but just as we do in the middle of the pitch, you'll see the three referees for this one. And I have to say, yesterday the refereeing was great, but these three had the best teamwork, and you could see that in terms of the flow that was in the game. So well done to Zoe, to Alicia, and to Tommy Webster. And we're hoping another great performance from them will allow us to see another excellent spectacle like we did in this game yesterday.
Thank you very much. Please remain standing until the national anthem on Aotearoa, New Zealand.
There we have the national anthems for both teams. Reece, once again, you've been in the New Zealand system now for a long time, and you've been involved with New Zealand teams. Have you ever had the opportunity to have the national anthem played prior to one of the matches that you've been involved in?
Yeah, 100%. Been to a couple of Trans Tasmans and a couple of World Cups. So, it's it's an eerie feeling. It's a proud feeling, and you don't get used to it. It's always a special moment, especially hearing those Māori words first and then into the English translation of our national anthem. Very proud moment. You think about everything that you've done in preparation for that game and the people have gone past. So, yeah, awesome moment to have.
It was always weird standing there as the referee for all the national anthems. You got fit international touch on your shirt, but you're as Kiwi as ever. As we see in the background, the try lights from yesterday's game. I tell you what, the highlight for me wasn't the tries though. It was through that orange zone and the way that Australia did it. If New Zealand have any chance, it's the game plan, it's the game changes that happen in that space to really shut down the attacking opportunities for this Australian team.
Yeah, there's Sarah Baldwin there in the highlights. I mentioned earlier that she really needs to be using her feet in terms of her speed and getting into the in goal, and let's hope that happens for New Zealand. But yeah, you're right, Australia's they're notorious for it. You know, it's part of their DNA in terms of Australia representative teams about going forward first and then working hard to get the ball down the other end. But look, it's 1-0 to Australia. You know, we've got a tied series in the mixed open grade. Now New Zealand need to fight as hard as they can to send this one into Sunday as well.
Big game here for one of the players for the Australian team. That's Kimberly Susi going up for her 50th cap. We've said this a couple of times yesterday around it's someone's 50th cap. When you think about it, it's hard enough to make one of these teams, let alone be in the 14 that jumps out there. We've got 3 games here, and someone like Kimberly Susi's got 50. So an outstanding accomplishment for all the players that over the course, not players, managers, coaches that get to that level. And we've had a couple of get to the 100 too. So incredible achievement by those individuals, isn't it?
Oh my, it's massive. You know, like I've been to a couple of World Cups and I'm only in the 20s in terms of coaching games for New Zealand. To get to 50, you know, like you've also got Phil Gymore in the men's grade that's going to roll out 100. So it's massive. But this game, it's all or nothing really for New Zealand, and it's Australia looking to get the job done early in the Trans Tasman.
You talked about Walsh earlier prior to the national anthems, and she was your MVP. I also thought Slattery and Norman defensively were outstanding. Also the number 8 there, Lucia Fildes for the Australian team, very, very good player. For New Zealand, 2 players stood out for me. Zadie Sarah Bolden, when she started to come into the game, New Zealand started to be a little bit more attacking down the centre, and she was just picking off the 3-3 dump. I thought she was fantastic. Footwork and speed. Also, Shani Valila, I thought she was amazing too. She scored the first touchdown, set a couple up after that. So they were 2 of New Zealand's best attacking weapons. There's going to be a few others that need to come to the fore. Really keen, as I said yesterday. I thought it was a missed opportunity to see Kouautaro Edwards play. Her whole demeanour, it comes across as incredibly relaxed, and I think it's just self-confidence. So it'd be great to see the impact she has on this team. But Australia, Reece, kick us off in this second game for day 2. Second game of this series, Australia up by 1. New Zealand really need the performance of their life to ensure it isn't 2-0 in about 45 minutes' time.
Yeah, really hoping that Shani gets on the ball coming through Gold Coast Touch Association. She's played a lot of touch with these girls from Queensland and also Australian youth grades, and now she's in the open women's for New Zealand as Australia look to launch same pattern as they started with yesterday in the last game. And there it is, there's a mistake. First up by Australia, off the tap off, great start from New Zealand, defensive pressure.
As good as they are, there still has to be nerves. All athletes have nerves, and I guess it's how they channel it. Seen there, drop ball, excellent set, nice work there from Collier. Collier, fantastic player in the age grades. She pretty much owns that space, so it's good to see her up here. Late cut in the middle, much better from New Zealand, completed the set. They get their first tick of the game on your chart.
Completed sets, that's what it's all about. Field position in these tight games, especially in Trans Tasmans, as Australia continue to hit the ball down the middle of the field before bringing it to the sub box. Touch 3, looking to get the ball over halfway. Great work. Latcher comes on. Looks to, when they said Latch, we try to get the middle of the field. And into the last touch coming up here. Little early check. Did New Zealand play at that ball? No. Referee says no. Another defensive set to New Zealand. That's a good start defensively from them.
I'll tell you what, one thing I'd suggest New Zealand do, and you'd be surprised to hear it from a ref. I think they're almost too honest in the 7 metres, and they're finding the ref real early. Because you look at the spaces as Australia coming through the orange, sometimes it's like 20 metres between them. I think they need to shorten it up and have the refs almost convince the refs to come up to where they are. Not the set they would have wanted to happen there. Have a cross and a tick down in the chart. You're both sitting at 50% after 4 sets.
I believe this one is for 7 on. Illegal subbing. Subbing player went on before the player had come off the field. Penalty to Australia. As they work the ball here, they'll look to bring the ball to the right-hand side of the field to play off the right hand downwind. As Australia play the ball on the 7, New Zealand have to get onside. Early release. Good defence by the New Zealand women's here. 32 platform with the split in. The Geordie play. Gets live. Draw feed. Chucks it over the top. Good dive. Good defensive dive as well there by the New Zealand winger.
Great touch. I think it was the number 6. Destiny Cartonet. I might have got that number wrong, but there was excellent work there from Destiny. Good start from New Zealand. 2 sets. Crombie now strong. In terms of getting more physical, I'll tell you what, you don't need to ask her twice. I'm sure when Coach McIntyre said that to the team, she was licking her lips. Another completed set. Good work, New Zealand. Both teams haven't quite found their rhythm. It's even contest so far. Yeah, potentially got away with one there, did the New Zealanders. Maybe a foot in the ruck.
100% Maya, good foot in the ruck, but they've got away with it, and there's a good unit out here at the moment for New Zealand. Look to solidify this mistake, this real mistake from the Australian girls. Work in the middle, using the ball. Looking to pull the Australians out from the number 7, and they're hanging back. Yep, rightfully so too. Was easy to see on the screen here, Maya. Referees penalise them. Australia sitting on the goal line. You've got to be proactive in terms of moving forward.
Here she is, one of the key individuals down this end of the field. Shani, the number 1 for New Zealand. What has she got? Creates space. Oh, threatening. I like that. She's going to make the Australian defenders stay on their toes. She's going to draw attention, which is the key here. And maybe if they sequence things right, they can use her as a decoy. Crombie now in for the 33. Backdoor. Too late for the dive there.
Bread and butter defence for the Australian girls there with the corner shut down. Looking for that step back dive. You could even see the link in the wing, had nice and compressed, knowing that it's going to be hard to throw a long ball off the right hand into this breeze. New Zealand working the ball again, looking to go short side, attack the right hand side. Would be chopping the hole. Doesn't make the ball available, but gets away with that one. Oh, no. Rightly so. Penalised there, not making the ball available. Great call, referee. The referee's Maya, and I know you've been a referee. I don't want to talk about them too much, but they've been excellent throughout the last 1.5 days so far for me.
That's the first time you've probably ever said something like that, Reece. I just wanted to give you that moment. I'm sure they'll appreciate that. Australia, though, they've been held out 3 times. They won't want to make it a 4th. Now they've got the New Zealand defence broken down, but there was a great recovery there. We've seen the number 12, Bri Hadfield, one of the co-captains. Big heart she has. Just a fantastic person to have as a leader. Really cares about the team, holds a lot of mana within this team. Australia now coming back door, goes short side. What's the call? Almost felt like there was no space for that touchdown to be called. As we look at this in the replay, it seemed like New Zealand had them matched up for numbers. Crombie releases out, the winger just can't quite. Oh, it must have been a no touch, because if she made the touch, can we see that replay again? I wonder if it was a basketball one or not. You might not get the chance to. You sort of gestured to me like you thought there wasn't a put down.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure, but you can read about it in the paper tomorrow, Maya, as New Zealand will look to hit back. Great strike from Australia. Here they go. New Zealand. Sarah Baldwin will look to get on the ball. As she plants it, she'll look to get the ball back. Feeds early for the dive. Yeah, same as in the mixed grade. The referees have had hui, a meeting. It's clear to see that all the officials want to make sure that the players are nice and square as Australia fake the hit through the middle.
That was a forward pass, that one, and again, pretty obvious when the player getting the quickie is the metre in front of the dummy half. At this level, should be able to do that properly.
Australia here looking to strike. They're away set on that set of yards off the left hand.
Do you think they've noticed something, Australia, on this side's defence in New Zealand? They seem to have peppered this for the first 6 minutes of the game.
Yeah, well, yesterday it was a stronger breeze coming from the southeast. Today it's quite gentle, so both sides of the fields are open, but good defensive set there by New Zealand off the left hand. But yeah, Australia, they're mixing it up. You know, they're 1-0 up in the series. Why not use all the repertoire? And here they come, New Zealand driving on the ball. This is a better scoop, looking to come back to the right-hand side. Great defence again by Australia. Great connection.
Like that there from Emerson Garrett, the number 3 for New Zealand. Came on off the box, did not slow down one bit. Strong drive. Got New Zealand on the front foot. Couldn't make the Australians pay, however. Oh, that's excellent lift. We didn't see this yesterday, Reece. This is really exciting. Not only have we got one up, we've got 2 up. So Australia can't pass around the outside. This is fantastic to see. The girls have gone away. The coaching staff and all the brains they have there have said this is what the adjustment needs to be. And the girls have come out and they're implementing that. That's fantastic. Excellent work there from New Zealand.
Yeah, great coaching. As mentioned by McIntyre earlier this morning when I had a meeting with him, he did say that they need to work a lot harder on defence and pressure a lot harder, and it's paying dividends. That's the first mistake Australia have made coming off their line.
That's the 3rd time you've said you had a meeting with him. I'm almost wondering if you're suggesting these changes are as a result of you.
Well,
hopefully you weren't talking about the wing link defence as Australia goes straight through that gap for the second touchdown. See it here in the replay. Just simple dump, gets it back, slips over, does Crombie. And going in for probably one of the easier touchdowns is that player we talked about pre-game, Lucia Fildes. Second touchdown for Australia. Nothing to worry about New Zealand. They have played an outstanding 8 minutes so far. Really good platform that they can build off here. I like this through the middle. Valila.
Yeah, got to go to her. Player coming out of the Gold Coast Touch Association. Plays the ball there. Coming back to the strong side. Touch pass there called by the referee. A little bit clunky, the New Zealand attack at the moment.
Clunky, Reece, are you meaning it doesn't look like there's been a move call? It's someone drives, someone picks up and then looks up and sees what's available?
Yeah, every now and again you can see 2 players going to play dummy half. Oh, no, the communication's not there. It means the play's not set prior or the options aren't there. But that could be because of the excellent defence from Australia at the moment. Player caught offside. Yeah, now Australia women's really getting into their work there, but New Zealand are working hard defensively.
Yeah. Take your head off to the skipper, Briar Hadfield. I like the Kiwis. I was interested there. So the first 2 touches good. Then it broke down. I was wondering, are they just going to go back and roll? But no, they don't. The skipper, true to the game plan, steps up, shuts everything down and earns the team a turnover. We see them here. Here's Edwards. First time I've seen her with the ball. Interesting to see what role she's getting to play in this one.
Really like what Bryce is doing for Australia on defence there.
Baldwin with the big right to left. First time we've seen her on attack too, Reece. Well, a beautiful pass, but as you just motion there, it's her speed, that's her asset.
Yeah, 100%. Good to give it a try every now and again, but she really does need to go down to the foundations of her game. Good press from New Zealand on the yards. Australia women here just a little bit shaken by this extra press. Great coaching, and it's off the mark. Beautiful work there again by the New Zealand girls, being prominent, getting off the line, forcing a little bit of pressure, not letting Australia get into their rhythm. Fantastic
work. They've earned themselves 2 errors from the Australian team, and very uncharacteristic for this Australian team. Bit clunky we've seen in the last set here with the subbing. They've now got everyone on. Unfortunately, had to use probably 4 touches, I think it is. Setting things up now. No, 2 to go. I think the New Zealand team may have lost the count like I did. Actually had another one up their sleeves there. Good place to finish the set though, Reece, if you're not going to get the touchdown.
Yeah, 100% far corner, but these Australian girls have shown they don't mind where it is turned over. They've already had an away set away from their sub box. Now they're looking on touch 3. Look, this is the press we haven't seen from the New Zealand girls yesterday, and it's been very effective. They just need to keep it on and stay on the grind here as Australia look to work the ball over halfway.
And they've done it again. Australia is struggling to get over. This is a win in itself here for this New Zealand Open women's team. And Australia, I've said it a million times in the last 24 hours, they're through the middle of the field. They are just flawless. Well, New Zealand, they've come out here with a game plan, and the best thing is they're implementing it to perfection. It's this part here. Can they get the subs on without losing that forward momentum? Can they come on? Know what everyone's up to.
Yeah, you're right. This is where Australia have been very tidy, keeping New Zealand to scoreless, but there's been great defence there. Number 16 for Australia looking for the in, and there's the shutdown defence. Their defensive end in the 7 has been outstanding so far, Australia. Not only on the scoreboard, you can see New Zealand haven't scored, but they've been very, very compressed in terms of their defence, especially on the right-hand side of the field there, where they know that the New Zealanders will have to throw back into the sprees. Great press defence, though.
It's amazing that the exciting part of this game is in the middle of the field. And normally we're trying to see the amazing long balls or steps or quickies down on the scoreline. But it's this battle that's taken place between these two countries. Who's going to win the orange zone? Australia owned it yesterday. New Zealand have really fought back today. And again, another outstanding set of defence. I don't know if an Australian team has had this much pressure put on them exiting off their line in decades, Reece.
Yeah, and I don't think so as well. Great coaching, but it's almost like because they've tidied up their press defence, New Zealand, the attack has gone out the window. It's almost like your golf game there, Maya. Great off the tee, but everywhere else just kind of falls away on you. As Sarah Baldwin comes in and plants, she really needs to get back on a scoop here. Here she goes. She's setting herself up. She'll look to go to the inside. Looks for the extra pass. There's the right hand again. Oh, beautiful catch.
Whoa, just give it for the dive. Going back for the forward pass. I hate tell you what. One thing that wrecks a great try is a forward pass. I say it all the time. That was a catch.
Oh, now I know why you always gave those beautiful long balls by Alex Taifu back in the Open Men's Canterbury versus Counties Manukau as Australia. They'll look to complete the set. They've also been a little bit clunky, but it's because of the press defence here from New Zealand. They just need to keep it on.
Ooh, maybe found a different bit of grass to plant that one on. But New Zealand are still lifting. You talked about they need to keep it on. With 13 minutes into this game, Reece, and they haven't pulled back from it. This goes back to, again, that physical preparation that the squad has put in. You said it about Porphyry. You looked at the body shape, you looked at the condition that all the players were in, and they just look ready to go physically. I'd say contingent-wide, probably the best the contingents ever looked. These female players here for New Zealand have done a great job. Now Australia trying to give a little bit back.
Yeah, Australia doing the same thing back now, pressing on defence, trying to force a mistake at 2-0. It's not a big lead. New Zealand really need to get the ball down the middle of the field. Here is their burning touches, looking to check back off. That's a good check off. Ooh, that's unlucky.
Good gamesmanship there from the 13. She knew it was a 6th touch, but thought she had scooped through just to take a little bit of time. The Australian players here seem to be happy with that also. Can they defend this set? It's key, Reece.
Yeah, they need to stay connected here. This group of players that are on the field, this 6, had just subbed on thinking attack. Now they've got to switch the mindset to defence. Let's see how quickly they can react. They are lifting a lot more as Australia look to attack with a dive. And yes, Australia have scored there. The touching player couldn't get back on side. And it's an easy try there for New Zealand, for Australia, sorry.
Yeah, just post-touch. Obviously, she's inside the player, couldn't get on the outside and send them back to the shutter. And the short side players staying mirrors. So, yeah, technically didn't quite get it right, unfortunately, there. Emerson Garrett. 3-0.
Yeah, and Australia take a 3-0 lead, but New Zealand, if they can get one here with 5 minutes to go in this opening stanza, they'll be back in this game.
You said that New Zealand felt they weren't to the link spot in the field to attack from, and this time they're trying to really centralise things. They're definitely doing that. Do you think it's paying off?
Yeah, I do, but they're setting their platform in the middle of the field and looking for the outside passing options, whereas yesterday the success came from getting into the end goal, scooping. So it's interesting, they got the zone right, but I'm just not sure if the plays are the right options at the moment as Australia just continue to drive the ball through the middle of the field. They're not even looking at the sub-box.
Oh, that was a drop there that got missed. Fortunate for Australia. Bit of a bobble in the roll ball.
Here they come, Australia. We'll be looking for a scoop off the back of yards. Great play by the New Zealand winger there.
Bit of an all or nothing play there from the winger. The ref said play through. Trouble would have happened. New Zealand, though, just now need to get forward. Australia is sending one up. If they can get a pass outside them, create that momentum. Third touch. Just bailing there, needing to stay with it. Australia, they scored when they got this opportunity in the previous set. Restarting their set from the halfway line.
Great hands by the winger there. Walsh, again, playing very, very strong out on that wing. Australia coming in here, looking for a platform off the right-hand side. No, checking back to the left. Getting a central plant. Splitter comes in, looking for an option. Hitting the chopping link. Recount, New Zealand playing at the ball there, but much better defence on the goal line by New Zealand. Sarah Baldwin's communicating well in the middle of the field there.
It goes to show how good this Australian team is. New Zealand has chucked everything they can at them defensively and done a great job. I'd say have parity at least through that orange zone, but they're still up by 3 on the scoreboard. Touch was made, nice touch there. I like what Australia did. They beat that defender last time, didn't they? So you've seen the link, Crombie just holding there a little bit tighter rather than release as early as she did. And that time they went wide, just like what's happened there. Good work there from Crombie.
Yeah, great lift there on that sweep play. Wouldn't want to do it too many more times. It's good as a surprise tactic, but Australia will pick that apart. Middle platform, sweeper goes round, early give. Great defence again in the middle of the field there, the link channel. Much better defence by New Zealand. Their defence has been really tidy, as has been their press when Australia have been rucking. They just need to find a way to get over the line here to get a point on the board 2.5 minutes into the half-time. And unfortunately make a mistake there. That's 3 mistakes now coming off their line. Coach McIntyre will be looking to tidy that up, and that will be at the forefront of his mind at half-time.
Reece, the Australians are making a 4-on-3 overlap every time on that left-hand side. What does New Zealand need to do differently to stop that, I guess, from happening so easily?
Yeah, well, that's the game. You know, you want to be able to create that overlap, that 4-on-3, and yeah, you're right, Australia are doing it easy. New Zealand girls just need to touch and work harder to get onside and for each other here as they look for a quickie on the link. Fake the link, coming back to the middle, doesn't look for second phase, gets the ball down, takes open on the crossover. Another good set of defence on the goal line from the New Zealand women. They're hanging in there, Maya, with 2 minutes to go.
Well done, Zoe Sausage. Just shut down any opportunity that was about to present itself there for the Australian team. It's 3-0. They're obviously not winning on the scoreboard, but I don't know. I feel like they're winning somehow in this first half. Just what they've done defensively, and they haven't pulled away from it at all. They haven't got tired, fatigue, anything like that. It's taken a lot out of them, but they're stuck to the game plan. Hadfield now right up the middle. The co-captains working together.
Yeah, would be there trying to get in from dummy half, but that's much better. You know, the way that they're looking to plant in the middle and use their footwork and their speed. It's much better attack. I like the New Zealand women when they're like that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a penalty, Maya,
No.
but I like the thought process and the attitude about getting in front and trying to stop the momentum of the Australian girls. And there's been rare penalties in this Trans Tasman around the penalties in terms of being offside and heavy touches. Good work from the New Zealand girls, even though it was a penalty.
You happy with that being called a hard touch, Reece?
No, but I'm more happy about the attitude of the New Zealand women's girls there. You know, getting in front. Here we go again, Australia. Now they've been forced to go to the open side because they're not getting that short, easy try in the middle of the field. Like these New Zealand women are hanging in there. Great, easy defence. Could have collapsed there, but stayed in the system. Great work. Australia, I know they've got a battle in their hands here. New Zealand, check. They need to go forward. Someone needs to drive this ball towards the sub-box here.
It looks it's probably unlikely, but if they can score here, I'm going to say it's almost a draw on the scoreboard just with the way that they've played. I think this Australian team is somewhat shocked at the impact the New Zealand defence has been able to dictate terms to the Australian attack. Can Crombie create something out of nothing like she did yesterday? No, she can't. We're going to hear the hooter here that's going to bring a close to the first half, which has been an outstanding half. Australia, convincing lead going into this first half, 3-0, but New Zealand, what an effort to fix up that glaringly obvious gap in the game yesterday. Amazing start for this New Zealand team, down by 3. Now with that foundation, can they come back in the second half and put some points on the board? Be back with us to see if they can.
You'll find the perfect balance of experiences in Ōtautahi Christchurch. Some you'd expect and others you wouldn't. We'll bring you closer to what you love and surprise you along the way. Grow with us.
Welcome back to the halftime break. This is game 2 for day 2 of the Trans Tasman Test Series held here in Punawai Sports Hub in the absolutely stunning city, which is Christchurch. The fields, again, exceptional, Reece. The weather today, even better than yesterday if you could have dialed up a better day. What has been dialed up is some fantastic defence by the New Zealand team. Not wanting to talk specifically on that, how are they going to get some touchdowns, though? It's great that they've reduced the amount of touchdowns, the amount of touchdown opportunity that Australia are getting, but they need to score, obviously.
Oh, they're attacking from the right zones in the middle of the field, but looking to pass. These outside players of the Australian women's teams, they're quality, and I have circled Bryson Walsh in particular, Lincoln Wing, outstanding. New Zealand need to go in the middle of the trial and make referees make a call on a dive, attack in the middle and get the ball down in the middle.
You're talking about getting into the end zone, but unfortunately the setup, the platform is a lot of lateral passing and then getting a dump that doesn't really have much momentum in it. It's not like they've been able to really drive strong on the end of a yard set where there's a lot of momentum. You've got the defence backpedaling. At the moment, Australia's defence in both sides of the field, the wings and the leg, they're set. So they're not really breaking them down and creating opportunities, are they?
No, you're 100% right, Maya. Look, Australia defence is pretty good, and you've got to break them down as well. But you're right; like it almost seems like it's I'm going to give it to you because I want to be on the ball. In terms of a designated attacker, but maybe you might not be in the best position. In touch when we're coaching, we talk about the right person in the right place drives on the ball, and hopefully that message goes through. But don't be surprised, whānau out there that are listening in this game, if New Zealand strike back here and make a real game of this one. They're playing well, the New Zealand women. They just need to really work hard to get on the scoreboard here.
Yeah, really highlighted her performance from yesterday, but Rachel Walsh, she's a star, isn't she? And most people in Australia are saying, well, welcome to the party, Mai, you're only about many years late. But when you've got a star-studded team that play a real team game, I think it's even more amazing when you have an individual that really stands out like that. 50-cap veteran, Kimberly Susie. Number 11 for Australia. New Zealand get a chance. Fantastic opportunity. Starting 35 metres out from that attacking scoreline to get the second half underway. Down by 3. Have defended their hearts out.
There it is, though, Maya. Good coaching again. Got the earpiece in. Pete McIntyre, Latoya. Got to attack from the middle. Got to really make sure that this Australian defence collapses as they look to strike in the middle again. Quick pass off the right hand. Looking for a dive option. That's okay. That's good attack. That's testing both sides of the field. Coming back to the right-hand side. Looking for the early. There's the peel. Fakes the peel.
I'll tell you, Collier is someone, when you watch her in the Nationals, she's scooping through easy. She is lightning quick. Obviously a debutante and maybe not having the confidence to get in there. Oh, I just needed a draw and pass. Wide open, out on the wing. I think it was Stanton. Could have been Murphy.
Great defence again by Australia again. Yeah, and that's easy shutdown defence on last touch. Australia just trying to settle down, but once again, they go back to the 2 hits in the middle of the field with speed. Now New Zealand are backpedaling. Winger looks short.
Interested to see the adjustment the Australian women's team are going to make. Obviously, the coach would have been brewing up a plan that whole first half just to try and break down things, and they've successfully done that this time. Referee's calling 7 on, is it? Going a long way back.
Yep, penalty at halfway. Illegal subbing just as New Zealand got pinged in the first half. Great call. Nice and consistent, the referees here. That's the second mihi I've given, second acknowledgement I've given today to the referees.
Both times with your fingers crossed, so I'm not sure quite what that means, though. Consistent, the year one each, maybe, but random. I think it happens every single time players go to the sub box. So I think consistent is it every time they sub, blow one, or I'm not sure. Anyway, New Zealand take it. Sarah Baldwin here. Oh, good strong touch from Australia. Zadie just had the ball in one hand. She really wanted to split quickly to get that ball back.
Just noticing, Maya, that Australia women's, they have about 4 or 5 yardage packages that they can roll out on any given set. Great planning, great training. Obviously put a lot of time and effort into the coaching and activation of these packages. As they come in here, Australia, 3-3 platform. They're attacking from the middle as well. Step back. Great defensive set again from New Zealand. Awesome work, women's.
Are you starting to see a little difference, though, in the defence? They're not coming forward in pairs, the New Zealand team. They're sort of letting Australia come to them, just getting back in that role, those first 2 defensive sets.
Yeah, first half, New Zealand were very active and working in pairs, looking to get that 3-2 lift on the second touch. Now it's back to being single, maybe a little bit of fatigue coming in. These Australian girls will just keep working hard. New Zealand need to match them in that. Good completed set again for New Zealand, but no strike off the end there.
Let's see it here. If the New Zealand girls, now they're set, roll ball hasn't been played, can they get back into the structure that they had defensively? Getting 2 up. Filds there, nice strong drive, the number 8 from Australia, workhorse for this team. We see her go again. She's going to sub, but gets straight back in there. Gets this Australian team on the front foot. My.
Yep, New Zealand drawing 2 players up there in the middle. Both pulling corner. Great early dive by Australia. Great touch as well from New Zealand. Good work. Staying in this fight. They need to get over the line, but they just got to keep working here. Still got 16 minutes in this game. It's early on in the second stanza of this game.
She had a lot of ground to make up, didn't she? The number 13 from New Zealand, Sammy Stanton. She did it well. She's had to put her body on the line. A lot of times you see her sucking in the big ones once she gets up off the ground.
Great first touch from New Zealand. They're looking to match the Australian driving through, but you can see the difference. Australian women's get front on, get a good touch in there. Here they go, New Zealand working the ball down the field. Got the Australian women's backpedaling a wee bit. Need to keep the pace on the ball here, New Zealand. Fakes the open side, gets into the in goal. No, dummy half touch, but better attack, better flow into that attack there from the New Zealand woman.
Yep, the flow was much, much better. Woodby and Hadfield seem to be doing a lot more tack together in this game. Again, those key individuals, Valila, the number 1 for New Zealand, and then also Sarah Baldwin have nowhere near had the amount of ball or opportunities as they had yesterday. New Zealand had an opportunity there to get 2 people up, just sent 1 up. They could have shut down that player coming on from the sub box for Australia. Again, 1 up.
As Australia there, completing their set, 14 and a half minutes to go. They know that's all they need to do. Be clinical in terms of completing sets here, the Australian woman.
Strong plant, Zoe Sausage.
New Zealand here working the ball. That's better speed on the ball here. As New Zealand look to fight back here, they're going to need a good option. Baldwin's going to be the right person to play the ball there. Crombie there, looking at the right hand. Great option. Hits the outside. Good defence from Australia again. Defensive and yardage battle going on here between these 2 great nations.
No need to throw that ball back in there from the winger, was it? I know you don't want to die with the ball, but it would have been a great spot. Allowed your team to get set. That's better here. Good work there. Shani at number 1. Need to do it again. 2 more. Have 2 players come up. 2 to go here for this New Zealand team.
Defending as individuals now off yards. Good stoppage there by the New Zealand player. Good physical touch there on touch 5. Great work. Stanton there. She's been really effective this game. New Zealand on defensively on those yards, though. They need to go back to working in pairs, trying to put a press on as they work the ball down the field. But it's the extra check off there, Maya.
Yeah, there really no need for that pass. There was already a defender up. Would have stopped all momentum. However, now they need to defend it. They sent 2 up for that first touch and 2 again. This is better from New Zealand. Fortunately, just 1 here at the moment. 3rd touch, 3 to go. Australia now finding the position on the field they want. Calling for a no touch. Did the 14 from New Zealand. Didn't come to much. We've seen there Bailey McDowell saying that she didn't make that touch. 5th touch, 1 left. Reese, what can Australia do?
Oh, they'll look just to complete the set, chase the outside there, late cut. Australia won't be concerned with that. They'll just be completing sets here with 12 and a half minutes to go. The more concerning thing on the scoreboard here is New Zealand being able to get off the line. They need to complete this set here and make sure they're clinical and get a strike off the backhand here to get a point on the board. Working well towards the sub-box. Latch comes on.
There's that speed I'm talking about with Collier there. She's got a lot of speed. I'd love to see someone, one of the better drivers, maybe Valila. She's really strong and aggressive in that ruck area. Drive for Collier and just get her go straight down Main Street. Good lift there from the Kiwi girls. Be interesting to see what's the call. 6 again.
Yeah, played it there by the New Zealand player, even though she said no.
You're calling her a liar, are you, Reece?
I'm not calling her a liar. I'm saying she played it.
It sounds like it.
Australia here with a full set. They'll be dangerous in this set. Now they'll go into attack mode and really look to put the foot on the throat here as they check back to the right-hand side. 32 platform, 32 peel with the dive. Beautiful setup. Defensively, New Zealand were caught on their heels there with the shutdown defense. Easy to see this play coming. 32 peel. Early give. Decision maker there on an early dive. Ball down. Great try. It was the mistake off the yards from New Zealand that gave Australia, and the repeat set, you can't go mistake against a quality side like this, unfortunately for New Zealand, but fortunate for Australia to go 4-0 up.
4-0, 11 minutes to go. Oh, I like this direction here from Sausage. Now we're going down this left-hand side, step back. Great touch there from the Australian link. I liked it though. I liked it. Much more purpose when they come out to that set. Bolden, what can she do? Just looking at almost a throw in hope, really, unfortunately. We still haven't seen 33 drive for a scoop yet, have we?
No, which was being so effective yesterday. Keep going to say last week, but yeah, series here on the weekend. It was only just yesterday, but it seems like daylight ago the New Zealand attack Australia. Excellent in terms of getting the ball to the middle of the field on the first 1 and 2 touches. It's drawing the winger up on touch 3 and they're getting this early latch on. They've really nailed their yards here, the Australian women's, as we go into the last 10 minutes. And Australia have just streaked away there. And that goes back, I believe, to those first 2 hits through the middle of the field. They bring it to the winger and they get an early latch on and then they just back their speed here.
There's been an obvious change from the New Zealand team defensively through that transition zone, Reece. Do you think that's in terms of gas?
Well, Coach McIntyre talked about it before the game. Working numbers, press hard, and that was working in the first half, and now in the second half, it's gone out the window. So I'm not too sure what will happen. Why you would change plans, I don't think. It could come down to the energy levels, but Australia, they've been very efficient defensively. They're so connected in the middle of the field here, always getting one defender point. Everyone else being back in the arrowhead. Another scoop to the short side here, though. New Zealand got to get this one down. Free and open, looking for an option. Great catch.
You talked about it, didn't you, Reece? You said that's the option. Get into the end goal. We see it there. The closest the New Zealand team is coming to getting a touchdown.
Yeah, well, it's the one thing. The one thing at the moment that this team has got, this New Zealand women's, is great foot speed. So it's surprising that it's taken 30-odd minutes to go to it, but it was almost successful in Australia here. They just keep rolling through. They're really dominating this part. It's another completed set to Australia. They've been really effective in the second half, completing their sets, making minimal mistakes. New Zealand need to get the ball down the other end of this field. 8.5 minutes to go, down by 5.
Nice extra pass there from Garrett. Just getting New Zealand back on the front foot.
Yeah, down here we talk a lot about subbing the box, working with the box, but a lot of the New Zealand girls are subbing quite deep as they come off the ball here, the right-hand side. Beautiful footwork again. I know they didn't get through, but I'm liking the difference in attack about just trying to back your foot speed. I just wouldn't be worrying about the dummy, and I'd just drop the hammer. Here come Australia now with the ball. So efficient through the field. Mistake here. Let's see if New Zealand can capitalise.
It's great to see Collier get an opportunity there, and like you say, if just get rid of the fake and drive hard, Give her every opportunity.
Here they go, New Zealand, looking to build some sort of attack. Drawing up the defence of Australia. So good at just sending the one player up. New Zealand probably need to be more effective. Here they go. 3-3 option, attacking the right zone, middle. Sarah Baldwin on the ball. She's wanting more of a drive so that she can scoop here. Pointing out where she's going, orchestrating the attack.
That should
not
be
getting the option. That should be a penalty. Great call there, Maya.
Easy one to call there, 2 in a row. Here she is. What can she do now? Can she get inside? It wasn't really the typical follow play that you normally do. Bit of an afterthought, but now these two, if anyone can get through, it'll be one of these two players. Way a ball on the ground, way too long.
Got to get Sarah Baldwin here on a scoop. No, she's wanting an out ball. And not square.
Yep, not good enough there, that setup. They had 6 touches to be able to do what they needed to do. Just making it too easy for Australia on attack. Not really asking much of them.
Set completion is just number 1 for Australia here with 6 minutes to go. Working the ball down the field here, looking really tidy in terms of their yards. And they come on, they look to get to the middle of the field.
Touch an amateur sport, but this team is just so professional, aren't they, in their strategy, the way they conduct themselves. And we've seen it yesterday in terms of once they got out to that 3-4 touchdown lead, it wasn't really a now around, foot to the throat. They did the job. They pulled back a little bit on the speed just to make sure that they were accurate, to complete the sets, take the time off the clock, make it hard for this New Zealand team to have any opportunity.
Look at the way that even the Australians are just coming in on defence. They're coming up in 2s, 3s, and they're getting in front, really rocking these players. That's a better drive from New Zealand. Probably just should have kept momentum there.
Fundamentally too, though, a lot of our Kiwi players rolling the ball with 2 hands on it as opposed to initiating the touch. Now they get on the outside. Completed set but went to nothing, and at this stage, while completed sets are important, I'm not saying you need to chase the game, but with 5 to go and 5 down.
Yeah, she's a tough old game. She's a cruel game at times where you think you're really playing well and you look up at the scoreboard and it's 5-0, but that's what you get when you're playing Australia, and these Australian women's just continue to feed off their foundation of the game, which is built on good defence and yards, and then they use their speed out of dummy half here. Short ball there, linked late on the defence. And there's another try to Australia off the back of quality yards through the orange zone. A clear win to Australia here through that passage where a lot of games are made, and especially down here, the locals will be going for New Zealand, but they'll be acknowledging the quality with Canterbury players built off the back of good yards and through the orange. Another try to Australia.
The defence backpedaling the whole way. It's hard to move laterally when you're going backwards. Australia, again, just another professional touchdown right there. New Zealand, though, centralise their attack. Valila gets on the outside, gets in for the first touchdown. We've both got our hands up, haven't we? We've said right from the start of the game, these are the players that need to be on the ball, get to that position in the field, but go down Main Street. And she does it here. Great touchdown, the first one for New Zealand. 5-4.
Yeah, while you're talking there, Maya, I had my hands in the hat. Where's she been? Like we talked about her pre-game out of the Gold Coast Touch Association. Played with East Australia, and they'll be almost a little bit scared of her, knowing that she used to play with them. And gee, that's the first time she's had an attack in a long while. And hopefully tomorrow, although the series is looking like it'll be gone, she gets a lot more ball. Here they go, ripping off to the short side, out of dummy half on last touch.
Well done, Kiwis. Defended that set, post touchdown. Excellent work. Just not on the same page. Gets on the outside though. Sausage, very direct, like the way she plays. Assertive player. Collier now, look at her pace. Doesn't even hardly look like she's running. But again, just makes themselves to the... allows the Australians to dictate when the touch is going to be made, where a touch is going to be made. We need to drive. We need to get our hands up, the fundamental skill, so we can choose where the roll ball is going to be.
100% Garrett there trying to get through. Once again, faking the pass from the drive and trying to rip off to the short side. But once again, good defence from Australia as they continue to go away from the sub box on touch 1 and 2. Check it back, link for wing. Middle drives again before she subs. There's been a forward pass from the ruck there. New Zealand with an opportunity to get 2 on the board.
Unfortunate, obviously, with the result in terms of for this New Zealand women's team, but I think there's been so many wins in it. You see the scoreline 6-1, and that's a little bit of a hiding in touch terms. But this New Zealand team, they put together, like, in that first half, a 13-minute package there of excellent defence, real commitment, and then it was just a little moment where Australia will score a try, and then another great 5-minute package. So for 37 minutes of this game, outstanding. And just Australia, though, whenever you show a little bit of weakness, they can score that touchdown. They've done that 6 times. So compared to yesterday, which I felt was a great effort from the Kiwi team, they've addressed one aspect. They've done an amazing job in that first half, and it'll be interesting to see now how do they build on that going into tomorrow.
Yeah, that first half was excellent. 3-0 was not an indication, a fair indication on the first half that New Zealand put together. Look, 9 debutants, you can't look past that fact. And from what I've seen, these girls, they actually don't look like they are on debut. They played excellent as Australia completed another set. Intercept there from New Zealand, but it's a completed set regardless at a great end of the field for Australia. With 1.5 minutes to go here, New Zealand does just continue to fight, though. They're looking to promote the ball. They keep working hard. They look in great physical condition. Would be there, drives the ball, keeping the pace on. Someone really needed to be off the back of that one. Still a touch up their sleeve here as Baldwin needs to go from half here. Looks to use her speed. Here she goes, short side, steps back, offside player.
I think when you're really positive about a team who's losing 6-1, it goes to show you the quality of the team who's winning that match, right? And New Zealand has stepped up massively and thrown everything they can. But this Australian team, as professional as they are, the standards that they have, the team-first type structure that they have, they're just outstanding. Juggernaut is not an overstatement. Hyperbole gets used a lot in commentary, but when it comes to this team, they are just outstanding, and they've showed it once again. Good work here from New Zealand the last 2.5 minutes, though. And yeah. I really respected them and acknowledged this yesterday in terms of the game was lost, but they kept playing every touch, every moment, every set, and that's fantastic. That's a great culture within this New Zealand team that I'm sure Peter Mack has developed and will continue to develop with these athletes.
Oh, look, if you read it in the paper tomorrow, you're going to see it's a comprehensive win, but it hasn't. You need to be here in person to watch how hard these girls have been working.
2 seconds left on the clock, Reece, in this one. The second game between these two teams in this 2025 Trans Tasman Touch Series. Australia up 6-1. We haven't had a hooter. The clock is saying 0, and the ref has said, that's us, folks. Australia take out the 2025 Trans Tasman Touch Series. Once again, the champions, 2-0 lead in the series. Tomorrow, dead rubber of sorts, but still a lot to play for and pride-wise. New Zealand, an amazing performance from our open women's. Not a single person here won't be extremely proud of what they've just seen, and those watching at home. 2 down, 1 to go. It's the men's open. Can they do the same? Come back and we'll see.